Hey guys, so welcome back to another edition of our Stocks by Request. And for today, we're gonna talk about all home. Because as you all know, over the past hours, just today, we saw all home massively move up. And we're gonna talk about the price action. We're gonna talk about the technicals in the back end of this video. Then we're also gonna talk about, is this something that's fundamentally triggered, or this just merely people just buying it up? So let's see if this has some legs into it, and we're gonna drill in further some fundamentals, then later on technical analysis. So by the way, if you're new to this, my name is Marvin Gurmo, and I'm a stock market trader and investor, and I've been in the market for more than a decade already. And the reason why I create daily videos is I want to teach you, I want to share as much insights as possible, whether it be about a particular stock or just basically principles about trading and investing, with one goal in mind: to teach you that you can use a stock market, that it's an asset class that can help you reach your goals of financial freedom if you do it properly, if you do it right, and you come in taking the time to learn and build the skill. So if you're new to this, please subscribe and smash that bell so you get updated every time I come up with new content about the stock market. So let's begin. No, and it was so interesting because yesterday I posted about GT Capital. So by the way, for those who are asking about GT Capital, I posted it yesterday, and it also moved up again today. So you can just see where it is right now in the support and resistance range from yesterday's video. So you can get a lot of context from that as well. And if you have other stocks that you guys want me to analyze, put them in the comment section, and we're gonna do more of that videos over the next few days. Or kung kaya pa tonight, let's see kung kaya. But comment below and like this page, like this channel. Anyways, all home had a massive move up today. And it closed at around 7 pesos per share. And the total movement up was around 23.46%. And as you all know, for those who attended our Stock Smart sessions, I'd always focus on value turnover, I'd always focus on volume, because it dictates how significant the move is if a lot of people are taking part. Because if they're not taking part in it, then that movement may not be something that's sustainable. That movement may not be something that's credible. That movement may be something that, after a large push up, it will be harder to get out if it's not so liquid, or it will just drop down when all of the transactions are done. But for today, we had a very large value turnover. No, if I remember it properly, it's around 359 million pesos, which is good enough in terms of its movement. And later on, we're gonna look at the charts to see how the volume of it and how credible is it in the grand scheme of things. Anyways, uh, in terms of what caused it to move, we have to actually see, is this something that's just purely price driven, or is there something from the fundamentals that's actually allowing it to actually move up? Now, if there's one thing that I saw just for today that's connected to Pure Gold in any way, is that they disclose their earnings. And if there's a couple of things that investors should watch out for, aside from mergers and acquisitions, aside from how the macroeconomy would hit a certain company, how the government policies and regulations would affect a certain company, earnings is very important. Because of course, you don't want to buy a company that's losing money, you don't want to buy a company that's closing down, you don't want to buy a company that's heavily that got heavily battered. And there's a large expectation for the year that a lot of companies won't do well. There's a large expectation for the year that a lot of companies' income won't be so good. But somehow, some way, all home is bucking the trend, which is most likely one of the reasons why people started to buy it up for the day. First quarter profit for all home is up 30% year on year at around 270 million pesos. I repeat, first quarter profit for the year is up 30% for the year on year, at 270 million pesos. Please remember, a lot of the other companies that we've talked about already, their earnings are either flat, their earnings are have either decreased, or for some of them have hit negative. And please remember, this 270 million pesos, it's only for the first quarter of the year. They got hit also by Taal volcano. They got hit also by the 2 weeks of the lockdown. But they shored up a lot of earnings, I guess, on the first 10 weeks of the first quarter, that gave them a good net income of 270 million pesos. Now, their revenue was also up 41%, is also up 41% at 3.4 billion pesos. So, as you all know, All Home, similar to Frutas, KPPI, and Axelob all went into an IPO last year, and their growth for 2020 was driven by. Please remember, one of the reasons why they also went into IPO was they needed funds also to open new stores. And that being said, we're now seeing the benefit of them creating those new stores. We're now seeing the benefit that, hey, because of these new stores, we have now the capacity to actually earn more. And if you remember the IPO videos that I did for All Home, I said that they're very, very strategic because their malls. All Home is inside majority of the malls of the Vistaland Group, and the Vistaland Group also, they would put their malls, they would put their All Homes close to their residential projects, from landed projects and condominiums. If you look at the business model of All Home, they're basically fixtures. So if you are a person who's moving into a new place, the easiest way for you to buy stuff for your house, furniture, lighting, appliances, will all be at All Home. And that's, I think, what one of the upsides for All Home. And if you're looking at it, if you've also followed my videos, just for during the ECQ, I said that there was one time I went to the mall, and when I went to the mall, people were not just lining up for groceries, but there was even a larger line for the hardware. Why? Because this is what I believe, since a lot of people are staying at home, and I said this in a lot of the videos already, that they have travel budgets. And since they're not traveling, most likely they will use their travel budget to fix their house. And even our house is a testament to that. My wife has bought a lot of stuff for the house because we're here. She's here. There are things that you need if you're at home to make your life better. For people who are working from home, most likely they will buy a table that will allow them to work more efficiently. They will buy a chair, an office chair that's more ergonomic, that will allow them to work more efficiently, so on and so forth. I've even seen people buy massage chairs because they're at home most of the time, and you will see that as a prevailing theme over the next until people are still locked down, and until a lot of people are working from home and a lot of people are not traveling. You will expect people to just put their budgets, I believe, to make their houses better. So that's what I think could possibly happen still for the back half of 2020, that there will be spending, but I'm not saying that they're not going to be affected. Of course, the shift still will be, people will be spending more on groceries first. But for some people who have disposable income, for some people who have, there are some industries that are not affected as much. That, for example, you're working in the BPO industry, most likely you're still keeping your job, and if you're still keeping your job, you're the one who has the ability to actually pay and buy more. And since Metro Manila is also in GCQ now, it means that it's easier for people to move in and out and start buying again and going back to All Home to purchase stuff for their house. So there. Anyways, now let's look at the charts. I hope you got this and I hope you're learning from this. If you are learning from this, comment below, comment I'm learning, and then we're gonna shift already to the charts. And by the way, for those who are new and don't know, who owns All Home. It's basically Manny Villar, Camille Villar. It's their group who is running the show for this. So let's look at the charts. So as per the technicals, I already talked about the volume. Now, if you look at the volume right here, it's very, very clear that here you see that there's a large spike in volume. But even before that, 2, 3 days before, we already see that there's a larger move up of volume prior to the large move that we saw today. One thing to note though, for All Home, no, uh, in intraday, it had a high of 7.8. That's why you see the candlestick, the wick here. It had a large push up, then it started to retrace lower to still close at a high, to still close at 7 pesos per share. So again, All Home hit 7.8 intraday, but there was selling that brought it lower. So please do note that whenever you see movements like that, it's not immune that people won't still sell. And sellers, at some point when it was at 7.8, 7.7, 7.6, they started to sell down, bringing it to a close of 7 pesos per share. So that being said, a couple of things that I'd like to mention. Number one, volume was there. Right, even before the breakout, volume was there. You already saw certain amounts of buying higher than the average. And even if you look at this level didn't have any volume, then it just started to pick up at this point. No, then if I'll put some moving averages on, what we saw today allowed it to break out from the 20-day moving average, allowed it to break out also from the 50-day moving average. And looky here, if you look at what caused it to also go down, was basically intraday, the stock of all home at around 7.6, 7.7, 7.8 hit the 100-day moving average. And if you've been following the videos or you've attended any of our Stock Smart sessions, you know how I feel about the 100-day moving average. You know what my context is whenever stocks hit 100-day moving average, and then people see it as a resistance. Please remember, the larger the moving average is, the larger also the resistance is, the stronger the possible selling. And that's what we saw intraday. So a couple of things. Today we saw a breakout from the 20-day moving average, a breakout from the 50-day moving average, accompanied by volume. Then if you put this here, somewhere around the 5 peso level, no, it confirmed also that there's a level of support there. Then it broke past two resistance levels. The first resistance is the 5.75 level. The second one is the 6.2 level. So please do write this down. What we're seeing right now for all home, aside from the moving averages and the volume that I've mentioned, is number one, bounce from the 5.1 support, breakout from the 5.75 resistance, and then breakout from the 6.2 peso resistance level as well. Um, since there's no solid support and resistance level here in between, what we do have and what you could write here is it consolidated similar to a lot of the other stocks that I've been talking about over the past weeks, no, and the consolidation range happened from March all the way to today. It just broke out massively today from this particular range with a low of 4.5 and a high of around 6.2, etc. So what we have right now is a breakout from 6.2. Resistances that you can peg is at the 7.7 level, where the 100-day moving average is. And the next foreseeable resistance is the 9.25 level. So from this area, you have possibly, no, if it stays above, please remember, for this to become a legit movement up, the 6.2 level that I'm writing here should at least hold, because if it holds, then it confirms the breakout. If it does not, then there's a possibility that whatever we're seeing, we could see it just slide further. So please write it down. 6.2, the support should hold for everything, for the upside to what I'm talking about to be valid. If the upside is valid, then your target price should be the 7.7 level. It poses a 27% gain, and your next possible target will be here at the 9.25 level. So it gives you a possible 50% gain. That's under the condition that it stays above this particular support level at 6.17. So there. I hope you guys got a lot from this. For those asking about Ayala Land, the PSEI, GT Capital, just look at the previous videos before this, and then you'll be able to see it there. Then that's it. Expect more videos throughout the week. We have another video, or at least throughout the weekend. We're gonna do a slew of stocks by request. Then we have Carl D talking about the stock market and passive income for life. Is it possible to have passive income for life using the stock market? We're gonna have a video about that over the weekend. Then put your questions. I'm gonna make videos based on the questions that you make. Then on the description below, I have a couple of announcements. 5 books in the description for those who want to learn more about technical fundamental analysis and the basics of the market. I have a Patreon account. We're gonna do, for those who want to do a live stocks by request session, it will be there. I'm gonna start doing one stocks by request live stream in Patreon every month to the community that's gonna be part of it. Then online courses, Sean Si and Chinkee Tan, all in the description below. Then Stock Smarts Manila, most likely third week, fourth week of June. SMX, we're just finalizing the GCQ protocols, but we're good. It's gonna happen. So our first live training session in Manila for the year will be third and fourth week of June. So for those who registered, I'm excited to see you all. And I guess that's it. That's all my announcements so far. For those who are asking about my comment on the unemployment, my comment on inflation and my comment on the markets. I'm gonna make another video about that. That's gonna drop most likely this weekend. So you can expect that to come out this weekend. And then I guess that's it for now. I hope that this has been a very, very interesting week. A lot of upward movements for stocks that we have been watching. A lot of from a sideways movement, we saw a lot of stocks start to move up. A lot of stocks start to do better, and it placed a bit of positivity as a lot of stocks started to break out. So I saw a lot of people get excited, and I saw a lot of people saw their portfolio get gains. But again, I'll say this over and over: don't be super excited, because if you get super excited, you become emotional, and being emotional is one of the worst things that you could ever employ when you're trading the markets. Stick to your plan, don't be so emotional, and just follow through and go about what your trade's supposed to be. So there, I hope you guys got a lot from this. This is Marvin Germo. I hope this video helps you trade well, trade strong, trade smart. See you all again soon, guys, and God bless you all.